Well, good morning, folks, and welcome to what will be round 7 here of the Nemesis Online Racing League Championship here at Alton Park. I'm looking forward to these races, and as usual, when my phone loads Twitter up, I will read out the championship standings for you. How is everyone doing? I hope everyone is well. And I am very excited for this race. Of course, we have a few missing drivers. Ragnar can no longer take part in the championship, sadly, as he has other commitments, so understandable there by the Italian. And of course, my good mate Jazza is in Barcelona covering the first week of testing, so I'm sure he is having a jolly time. But now Twitter is finally loading, and I will read out the championship standings after that brilliant last race at the Oschersleben, I think it was called. Yep, that's it. Right, here we go. So, after winning 5 consecutive races, Nemesis is first in the championship on 140 points. Mark is in second on 103. Murcielago is third on 95. Chazza is on 91. Ragno is on 77. Oh, I got distracted here. Oh my lord, that was close. Right, Ragno is on 77, Blizzard is on 64, Galactic Skull's on 44, sorry, did I say VSR Blizzard's on 64, Galactic Skull on 44, Beamer Black on 29, Kadeshi on 26, JFD on 20, and Altanovich on 16, Kevin Jacobs on 13, Denny Abilaha on 1 point, but of course, as we usually do, the man favourite for pole, Nemesis, and we will watch him on board. We will watch his lap as he is just about to start his lap as he's coming to the line now. Sorry, already has. Don't know what I'm talking about, but yes. I'm expecting another strong qualifying performance here. I know he's been putting in lots of practice to make sure he can win his 6th and potentially 7th race in a row, which would be some mighty result, and would certainly go a long way in securing this championship potentially for him. Of course, we still have many races to go, but building up a nice comfortable buffer, especially when your internet is Italian, you never know, so it's always a good thing. Now I'll see what you guys are saying in the chat. TTG, he is going on for Blizzard. Hello Kevin and hello King Macca. And thank you for joining us. But we have our first lap time of the session, and that is set by Mark at a 1:38.9. JFD 3.9 seconds adrift of that, but what is Nemesis going to set as he comes towards the line? It's going to be a 1:37.9, a second clear of Mark. The Italian looks like he has the pace once again, but because it is a rather short lap here, they will absolutely get a second lap. So let's see if anyone can improve. I expect VSR Blizzard to potentially just keep it on the track, and I'm sure we'll see a lap time from him. Yes, don't worry, Callum. That's what I got distracted by before. I've been watching. Don't worry. I've got it right here in front of me. I'm making sure it's on. And TTG, listen, I appreciate you joining the stream, but that's not nice. Alright? This hurts. Don't say that. But as this session comes to a close, will anyone be able to improve? I'm certainly looking for a lap time from VSR Blizzard and Altanovic and Murcielago. And Mark has gone on provisional pole position by just over a tenth with a 137.8 over Nemesis Racing. So the Italian will have to improve if he wants to get another pole position. Will he be able to keep it on the track through the last corner? Yes, he is, as he now comes towards the line. Is he going to be able to improve? He's not! He's not! It is Mark who is on pole. The Italian has been dethroned, at least at something. And it is Mark on pole, ahead of Nemesis Racing, our championship leader. Good to see Mark here, giving lots and lots of fight. And maybe this can be the start of some sort of comeback in the championship. Brilliant effort there by Mark. But as Nemesis Racing will start second, Galactic Skull in third, JFD in fourth, and Altanovic in fifth, VSR Blizzard in sixth, and Murcielago in seventh, who of course had a bit of a disappointing outing in the last race at the Oschersleben. Was leading the first race and then just through an accumulation of mistakes dropped him out of the podium places. I'm sure he will be looking to make his way through the field and up towards those podium places once again today. Right, well, we'll leave the football behind before this race as we're about to get away. The lights are out and away we go. And who has had an absolutely awful start there? I think it was JFD. That was some awful start. But Nemesis... Oh, there's been a huge crash in the background. VSR Blizzard and Altanovic and Galactic Skull. I think we might have someone leave already, but that was a monumental crash, as we usually do have. Oh, and JFD runs a little bit wide there behind Nemesis, but Mark has managed to maintain his lead here at the start of the race. But Nemesis, as ever, is being a massive nemesis to his second place rival in the championship. And I'm sure he'll be making Mark feel very nervous into some of these corners after we've seen a very aggressive display by Nemesis in the last round of the Formula 1 Championship. As I'm sure a few of you felt the full brunt of it. But looks like the closest battle on track is between JFD and Murcielago, and of course we've seen JFD go off of the track early in the lap, and Murcielago has now closed in on him. So I'm sure Murcielago will be looking to make the move somewhere. As then Murcielago runs wide, sitting behind him. So typical commentator's curse. As I did to Chaz last week, I'm doing it again. JFD does look to be struggling a little bit there through the chicane as Murcielago's now got a brilliant run on him. Will he be able to make it past JFD coming into this corner? Oh, he seems as if he is just forced JFD off the track there, but he's managed to get his way past up into third place. But these guys certainly do seem a little bit off the pace of Mark and Nemesis, and just saying that, VSR Blizzard has joined the back of this pack rather quickly, so potentially VSR Blizzard has some good pace in this race to show. We just have not seen it yet, of course, as he could not keep it, as he could not get his oh, and VSR JFD has run wide there, and that has gifted the place to VSR Blizzard. But now what is this going on in my chat? We are not there is not any pro Man United rubbish going on in my chat. None of that. None of that. Like, thanks for watching, but come on, just none of those comments, please. But VSR Blizzard does certainly look quick here, as he's now all over the back of Murcielago, and I thought he was going to go down the inside there. Not going to lie, but I don't know what has happened to Nemesis at the front, or whether it's just Mark's supreme pace. But Nemesis is now... Oh, Nemesis has certainly made a mistake there. I was about to say, he's 2 seconds behind. What's going on? Now it's 7.2. So the Italian has made a massive mistake. We haven't quite captured it as we're watching VSR Blizzard and Murcielago. As VSR Blizzard has made his way past on Murcielago now. The Italian here faltering for the first time, certainly in a couple of races. Indeed, TTG. Indeed. It is a lovely combination. Oh, and that's VSR Blizzard running a little bit wider than their last corner, but Nemesis does look like he is comfortable. He just needs to keep it on the track. If he keeps it on the track, he will get the second place. I'm confident of that, but I've been confident of many things so far this season, and I have been proven wrong over and over and over again. So who knows? JFD could win this race. Come on, mate. Let's see some cracking pace. But let's see what happens as the race is starting to quieten down now. Everyone's a little bit spread out after 6 minutes of racing here at Alton Park. And of course, for this first race, there will be no rain. There will be no rain just drifting in out of nowhere, like it can do in the UK. But in the second race, of course, and in the qualifying, we will have random conditions. So it'll be interesting to see what the game throws at us. Hashtag, where is Galactic Scale 2? Right, well, here he is. The race winner in this series last year. But he's been really struggling with the game and making his issues known in the chat. The poor guy is in last place, 18 seconds off the lead. So Callum, there is Galactic Scale 2. And of course he had a massive crash with VSR Blizzard and Anel Tanovic at the start of the race. And of course Anel has indeed left, but I've just noticed that Blizzard has a penalty. Now, where is it? I severely dislike it. It's a 1 second time penalty for Blizzard, so not too bad. Not too bad. He'll be looking to build that gap to Murcielago to at least secure that podium spot. But Veerside Blizzard, as we usually see in these races, does have pretty good pace, as he is closing on Nemesis here. So will he have even bigger ambitions than just a third place in this race? It's certainly looking like it, as he has a brilliant run through that corner. But looks like he got a little bit too close to Nemesis and potentially had to back out of it. Yep, TTG, he is underperforming at the moment, and don't worry, I have raced with him on F1 before, and I know how very quick he is. And is he going to be able to make the move here down into turn 1? No. Oh, has Nemesis ran a little bit wide? He has, and he's allowed VSR Blizzard to go up the inside. A very, very good move there by VSR Blizzard, capitalising on the Italians' second or potentially third mistake of this race. I'm sure the Italian will be furious at himself there, and I'm sure Nemesis, our championship leader, will be looking to fight back against VSR Blizzard here. But we're certainly seeing a few more mistakes from Nemesis than we're used to seeing. Probably throughout the entire championship. He's been absolutely outstanding, and he's having potentially an off day at the office today. Or a bad day at the office. Oh, and Callum, we might be granted here. Here is Galactic Skull, who's battling with JFD over 5th place. Oh, lots of weaving and switching back to other sides of the racetrack. Is Galactic Skull going to be able to set up the switch back? No, not quite. But does look like he is. Very, very cool. He does look like his pace is a little bit better than JFD, but we will see. We will see. As of course there's still very close between Nemesis and VSR Blizzard for that second place, as Mark has been absolutely superb this race. Very, very consistent and keeping it on the track and not making any mistakes, and that is what you want, as he now has an 8-second buffer. 9-second. Oh no, I've missed some action. VSR Blizzard he must have ran wide at one of the corners, and now he is in 3rd place to Nemesis Racing, who is 9 seconds behind Mark. But VSR Blizzard looking very good through that corner, as was looking to go up the inside of Nemesis potentially there, but won't be able to do anything through there, as this is a very tight and awkward chicane, especially if you're using a controller, which I did have to do on this track last year, and it is painful. But VSR Blizzard does look like he is quicker, but just lacking the consistency, as we have seen on a couple of occasions so far this season. As Nemesis does run wide once again, you see what I'm talking about, and on the grass, and that should allow VSR Blizzard to get past, and it does indeed. Once again, a handful of mistakes here. Very, very unusual by Nemesis. Maybe we've been playing too much GTA, mate, but been a very difficult race for Nemesis, and it looks like even Murcielago's going to go down the inside the last corner. Yes, he is. What is happening to our championship leader? He is falling back. And in the meanwhile, Galactic Skull has managed to get past JFD. And Murcielago and Nemesis are now going to squabble over 3rd place. Come on, Skull, pull the nib move. The nib move is a big dive bomb. I'm Australian, so I like dive bombing. Not too ridiculous, but a solid dive bomb is very nice. Oh, as Murcielago does run wide there, but so does Nemesis slightly, so not able to capitalise quite on that mistake. But I think Nemesis will maintain the position into this corner, but will Murcielago be able to do anything about it with a better exit than the Italian? But as I was talking about, VSR Blizzard certainly showing some really good pace here. If he hadn't got himself involved in that turn 1 collision, who knows, he could be putting some pressure on Mark. But as we just come under 2 minutes left in this race, it does look like Mark is comfortably out in front, and we can see how bad Nemesis' last lap was. 1:43.6. That's 6 seconds slower than Mark. See, Nemesis had a very, very bad last lap. But he's made sure that he's got that position back on Murcielago. He's moved himself back up into 3rd place. I do hope for some more action in the second race. This has been good, but not that great. I want some rain. I'm not going to lie. I want some rain. Rain would be terrific. Rain would be absolutely glorious. So we can see these guys struggle through corners like that when there is an absolute flood on the track. Well, looks like we'll have probably one more lap after this. Just depends where Mark is on track. Yes, we probably will have one more lap now, as Mark is 7.5 seconds ahead of VSR Blizzard. A very dominant performance by the Dutchman here today so far. Of course, he has to repeat it in the second race, and that is no mean feat. But indeed, we will have another lap, as Nemesis and Murcielago are once again squabbling over that 3rd position. And Nemesis and Murcielago both have penalties, but both 1 second, so whoever has track position as they cross the line will take 3rd place. Who do you guys think it will be? Will it be Murcielago, or will it be our championship leader, Nemesis? Oh, as Murcielago just in the background there did run wide through that corner, and if Nemesis just has a clean lap, I'm sure he will stay ahead of the Austrian and claim P3. But you can see how quick VSR Blizzard is. It's a real pity that he does tend to be involved in these lap 1 incidences, like we've seen at Imola, of course, where he did claw back a 5-second gap twice to Nemesis in both races. If he was in a better position to start the race off in, who knows where he could have been. He certainly would have had a very good chance of winning the race. But it is Mark who will win race 1 here at Alton Park. A very good display there by Mark, and exactly what he needed to do when his championship rival Nemesis has been making a few mistakes, and that is certainly a good step in the right direction to put him right back into the title picture. Is VSR Blizzard with a very good performance after having, well, a nightmare on lap 1 in the first corner, after he had some massive contact with Galactic Skull 2 and Analtanovic. Then Nemesis in 3rd, Murcielago in 4th. Galactic Skull comes across the line in P5, and JFD, who will run this track on Sunday, finishes in P6. But of course, I think we might see some things mixed up here, as we will get random weather, and of course it is not so random on this game. It is usually heavy fog Now please don't be heavy fog, so I can actually, what am I even saying? So that I can see the cars. Don't be heavy fog, so I can see the cars. That would be fantastic. Oh, now where's my water? I've got a very dry throat. I've been doing a lot of commentating over the past week or so. Right. I will be back just in a minute, guys. I just need to find my water. Well, some may ask, "Oh Nib, where was your water?" Well, unsurprisingly, it was in the fridge. Silly duffer that I am. I forgot to bring it with me, but now I have, so I won't be need to running off, of course, during the race. And I would never do that unless someone was literally dying. Oh, this is what I like. This is what I like. Heavy rain for this second qualifying session. I can see the cars, and it's very tricky conditions. Much better than heavy fog, where you cannot see the cars whatsoever. But let's get to the we have King Mecca cheering on Mark, and TTG, of course, saying that it's Blizzard's time to win. Well, if he can put in a good qualifying performance and stay out of trouble, I think he can potentially have a very good result. Of course, second place is a very good result, but I think he could potentially go one better, and I'm sure he will be hoping to do so here at Holton Park, which is now race 2 here for round 7 of the Nemesis Online Racing League Championship on Project Cars 2, as we're just waiting for everything to get underway here, and we are going to just stay with our eyes glued to Mark. Of course, took pole position in the dry in the last race. It does look like he is streaming ahead of Nemesis and Murcielago, who are in the background. Ooh, TTG seems very confident about Blizzard, his man, taking pole position here. Well, I hope for your sake and for his sake you are correct, but would be interesting to see what he'd be able to do from pole, considering his terrific pace that he does have in the races, which we have seen over and over again. We didn't quite see it at the Oschersleben last weekend, as Mark does go wide there. Just having a little bit of difficulty in the braking zones in the wet, which is very understandable. There might have been a puddle into that corner, I'm not quite sure, because we don't see on the trackside camera, as well as potentially the onboard camera. And of course, sadly, from the first race, we are missing Aneltanovic, who, after having more contact, the poor man can't seem to go a race without having some sort of contact, has left the session. So it's sad to see Aneltanovic leave the session and not take part in race 2. But let's see what the lap times are going to be. VSR Blizzard, a 142.5 mark and a 143.8. That's much better by VSR Blizzard, and then Nemesis is another 4/10 behind Mark. So VSR Blizzard finally putting a lap together, and it looks like he does have the pace in TTG. Looks like you might be right. Your man is putting it together. Put together a good lap, stayed on the track, and who knows, he might indeed take this pole position. But of course, Mark, oh, well, never mind about Mark. He's gone straight off into the gravel, straight off into the kiddie litter, and that will rule him out of getting pole position. But we'll go on board with Nemesis now to see if he's going to be able to manage anything, if he hasn't already made a mistake through the earlier part of the lap. Oh, how has Edison saved that? Come on, Carroll, do us a favour, lad. Oh, his Nemesis was very aggressive over the curbs there. I'm sure he's kicking himself after that poor race he did just have. Very difficult part of the track to just keep it on the track in the first place, let alone in the rain. So drivers doing well to manage that. But as now we come to the last corner, and Nemesis does go a little bit deep, and then I think it's just lag. But what lap time will he set? Will he be able to improve? I don't believe so. So VSR Blizzard managing to put the lap together and has taken pole by a whopping 1.2 seconds over Mark, who did take pole in the last race, followed by our championship leader, Nemesis. Sorry guys. Over Nemesis Racing, JFD in 4th, Murcielago in 5th, and Galactic Skull in 6th. But right, we are now waiting for the race to get underway, and here we go. No, it's not for the football. I've just got the football on next to me. As lights out in the way, Blizzard does not go. He has a shocking start there, and Nemesis, who is usually renowned for his bad start, is up into 2nd place already. Oh, and there's been a little bit of contact there between Nemesis and Mark. As we'll head further back here, as Nemesis and Mark are side by side. Oh, and they've been launched into space. And of course that is just lag, because I'm in Australia. I wish I was in Europe, but I'm not. But it looks like JFD and not Murcielago is putting Nemesis under somewhat of pressure there. But I did think he just went completely off the racetrack. So that is certainly not one way of applying pressure. But VSR Blizzard, after his quite poor start, has managed to keep himself out of trouble and has got a nice 1 second buffer after the first couple of corners, and that certainly does not hurt your chances of taking this potential race win. And I'd just like to point out, it's dry in a race when it's random weather. Oh dearie me, as JFD has been absolutely launched. I don't know if it was by a Galactic Skull. I didn't have the perfect view there. But JFD just got absolutely launched. And I'm sure he is not going to be quite launched up into the air when he runs on this track on Sunday. But I'm sure that was some experience, as Murcielago is now putting a lot of pressure on Galactic Skull too. Is he going to be able to make the move stick into the last corner? Yes, he is indeed. Nice move there by Murcielago, who we have seen a number of times pull out some very, very nice overtakes. usually around the outside and gets me screaming, but not on that occasion, nothing too outlandish. But Nemesis Racing is closing the gap. Oh, and what's happening here? Nemesis has just flown past VSR Blizzard like he's not even there. And now Mark is gaining on Blizzard. Did he potentially have to slow down because he went off the track there? He might have done so. So very unfortunate there by VSR Blizzard. And that little mistake has cost him his first place. Hello Ryan, how you doing? Good to see you in the chat. But after making a very good start and having about one second lead, VSR Blizzard has gone off track, got a little penalty, well, a little warning. I don't know if he does have a penalty actually, because I am on board with him or watching his camera. But that has allowed Nemesis to take the lead from him, but I'm sure he'll be looking to avenge his mistake and take that first place back from Nemesis. And I'm sure Mark will certainly be eager to try and get his way up to the back of Nemesis after they had a very good squabble on the first lap, as he does need to start winning these races if he stands a chance of winning this championship. Yep, TTG, raw indeed. I'm still a little bit tired, as it is. What time is it even? As it's 8 o'clock in the morning here in Melbourne, Australia. So certainly very early still. Well, maybe not now, but when I woke up at about 6:30, yes. As we have the top three cars separated by less than a second, and now this is what I like. This is what I like, lads. Come on. Let's have a titanic battle for this first place, like we've seen before I started commentating on these races at the start of the season. So, will we see any spectacular moves by VSR Blizzard? It does look like he has the pace on Nemesis, as I'm starting to yawn again. This VSR Blizzard has got a very nice run out of that last corner. Will he be able to make a move? Or looks like he's trying to impregnate Nemesis there, as he had a very good run through turn 1. Is he going to look to make it around the outside? No, he does think better of it. Otherwise, he probably would have lost that second spot to Mark in third. There's, oh no, what's happened to Murcielago? He's in the pits. There must have been some contact. Oh, and this is what we like. This is what we like, ladies and gentlemen. Top three separated by half a second. Oh, and the forever bottlers Tottenham are 1-0 down to Chelsea. VSR Blizzard is looking very, very good here in this race. It's just about whether or not he can maintain the pressure over a couple of laps on Nemesis, really get right behind him. And we have seen mistakes from Nemesis in this early in the first race, so it's not completely out of the question here. We could see another mistake by the Italian. TTG reckons Blizzard is going to take it. I wouldn't be surprised if Blizzard does win this race. He certainly has the pace. It's just about finding the move, and he does look very, very good through turn 1, as he's got a brilliant run on Nemesis once again, but he just needs to continue the momentum through this corner, as Nemesis Does take a little bit wider of a line. Oh, no, VSR Blizzard's just got caught up on the rear end there as he had too much of a good run, and of a better run compared to Nemesis, and that's just dropped him back about a second behind Nemesis now. So nothing too damaging, but not exactly what you want. As I was talking about, if you want to get past, you're going to have to maintain that pressure over a couple of laps, and that is not what VSR Blizzard has managed to do. So he will have to work his way back up to Nemesis. Oh, bugger off, Guerrero. Too much of a good run. Well, basically his exit was so much better, and then Nemesis just took a little bit of a wider line, and then Blizzard touched his rear end. So that's what I mean by too much of a good run. If he had just a little bit of a worse run, he wouldn't have been in that position. So I hope you understand exactly what I mean there. But as we will go on board now, where is Galactic Skull 2Cam? And there he is, very unfocused. But there is the Scott, the wonderful Colin McAllister, in 4th place. But now we'll go back on to the battle for 1st and 2nd. Now Blizzard is making his way back up the Nemesis, and he could overtake him here. He's got a very good run. He's going to look to make the move around the outside. Is he going to be able to make the move stick? No. Nemesis is never going to allow that into that particular corner, as he maintains his first place. But we are seeing VSR Blizzard putting the pressure back on. Will the Italian crumble, or will he stand the challenge? It's certainly going to be tough to pass the Italian. He certainly defends his position with everything he has. I have been at the brunt of this in F1 games. Not so much on Project Cars, but certainly on the Formula 1 games. But once again, Blizzard, as I have mentioned, has had a brilliant run through turn 1. Is he going to try to make the move around the outside of Nemesis through the sweeping left-hander? He's not going to be able to make the move, but he still has had quite a good run. He's not going to be... Is he going to be close enough to make a move into the hairpin? It looks like he is. Will he try to make a move around the outside? Nemesis defends the inside. Goes a little bit deep. Will Blizzard cut back underneath him? He's going to attempt to, but Nemesis looks like he's just had a bit of a better run than Blizzard, as he maintains his position through this fast chicane. And we have the top 4 separated by 4 seconds, as I thought Blizzard and Nemesis were going to come to blows there. Looked like they were glued to each other, but Nemesis taking the racing line here, and VSR Blizzard, he's hit the back of Nemesis, defending from Mark, and Mark has just slipped in there very cheekily into P2. And will he now capitalise on that slight contact between VSR Blizzard and Nemesis? Will Blizzard come back at Mark, or will Mark be already ahead of Nemesis by the time? And it's going to be important. It looked like Mark was going to send it there in the last corner. And yes, Mark is going to a very good run down this straight. Is he going to be able to make the move down into turn 1 on his championship rival? He is indeed, as Nemesis goes wide, and VSR Blizzard is getting very, very interested now, as the top 3 are nearly 3 wide going into the corner. But it will be Mark and VSR Blizzard who come out on top. While VSR Blizzard and Nemesis are still side by side. Are we going to see any contact into this corner? But VSR Blizzard has done a brilliant job there to finally make his way past Nemesis and Mark. You see how quickly he was able to get past Nemesis, just something that Blizzard was not able to do. But now it is Blizzard all over the back of Mark as they come through the fast chicane. Oh, but it looks like there's been some contact and they're on the grass. They're on the grass. Oh, and Nemesis has gone off of the track to take P1. But will he be able to defend the position? Yes, it looks like he is, but VSR Blizzard. Oh, has he managed to make that stick? No, he hasn't. It looked like he had a supreme run there. But he has indeed now, and it looks like he will get past Nemesis around the outside, maybe. Oh no, there's been some massive contact, and he has not managed to get past. It's ended up in some contact, and Mark is in the lead as Nemesis is trying to go around the outside of the final corner. Will he manage to make the move stick? No, not quite, as Mark defends P1. Wow, that is what I like. Oh, it was Nemesis. I thought he was going to go down the inside there into turn 1. No, he runs wide instead. But, oh my, that was some brilliant racing we have just witnessed, and I hope it keeps up to that level over the next minute and a half. As Difficulty just scored. That's lovely. Keep it up, boys. But it's very unfortunate for VSR Blizzard after he had that contact and just went up and spinning around in a circle. Of course, Project Cars 2 very well known for their terrific physics, so wouldn't be surprised if that was something unfortunate and that was unavoidable. Yes, indeed, Callum. He did just stop. He stopped and spun about 720 degrees. Very weird once again, but it looks like Nemesis is going to put the pressure back on Mark to see if he can win his 6th race out of 7. Of course, his streak of 5 races in a row was just stopped in that previous race by Mark. And will Mark take the double? Will he take the clean sweep of both races at Alton Park, as we are now going to move on to the final lap of the race? Will VSR Blizzard manage to make his way up to the back? He's certainly going to hope that there's going to be some battling between Nemesis and Mark, but Nemesis is just a tiny bit adrift here, so he's going to be hoping that Mark potentially makes a mistake and brings him back into the battle. But it looks like VSR Blizzard, of course, does have a time penalty. And it doesn't look like... Oh, Nemesis has had to slow down here, has he? No, he hasn't. I thought he was slowing down there. But Mark, it must be said, on this last lap, is looking pretty comfortable. He is the driver who has made the least amount of mistakes at Alton Park so far tonight. Then will the Dutchman claim this win in round 2 here? And of course, VSR Blizzard is closing in on these guys, but it might just be a case of too little too late. Of course, there wasn't really much he could do after that weird spin that he had. He's fallen victim to the game here after he did the job, he took pole. He unfortunately had to slow down due to a slow down penalty. As you can see, he's giving everything he has got to try and get up to 2nd or 1st place, but it's not going to be 1st, as it will be Mark who takes his 2nd win of the night here at Alton Park. A very good display, and it looks like Nemesis has just stayed ahead of VSR Blizzard as they have come towards the line. What a brilliant race that was between VSR Blizzard, Nemesis and Mark. But it is Mark who comes out on top with a brilliant victory. after some unfortunate circumstances with VSR Blizzard, where his car just done a 720. Nemesis finishing second. He hasn't been the greatest night for him, but it still has been very good. VSR Blizzard, he did everything right in that race. He will finish P3. I'm sure he will be very, very frustrated after that race. But Galactic Skull in fourth. Once again, very good result there by the Scot. You know, he might have won the race last year, but collecting those points for fourth is very good. JFD finishes in fifth, and Murcielago, who had quite a difficult race, is in P6. But this is starting to get a little bit closer here in the championship, as Mark has managed to take 14 points off of Nemesis tonight. So closing that gap in the championship for the first time in a while, and that is what we want. We want a titanic battle for the championship as we have coming into the second half of the season now. But that'll be it from me, folks, as that concludes round 7 here at Alton Park. I will see you all once again next week at the same time for the next race. I don't know exactly where we are, but of course you will see, and I'm sure you guys will know where it will be. So thank you to everyone in the chat for coming along and being very active in the comments. So thank you all for that. I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful night, wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you guys later.